So, with the 2023 roadmap out and in the wild, it's time we kind of discuss really what the community's talking about. And it ends up kind of leaning into what's missing off the 2023 roadmap. And I know for PvP players or those who are looking for weapons, you feel like maybe the roadmap is a little bit light. And so that's what this video is going to kind of talk about. We're going to hit those key points. We're going to talk about PvP. We're going to talk about weapons. We're going to talk about the lightness of what they've kind of displayed. But I think this isn't a bad thing. In fact, I actually have more hope than anything else before now that we finally have the 2023 roadmap so far. And the key word here is so far, but that doesn't mean that it's all sunshine and rainbows. So I want to highlight these ideas that people are sharing and kind of give my own thoughts and context as a developer myself, but as somebody who really loves New World and is actually feeling more positive than negative from the latest round of news. So hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Brian if you happen to be new around here, but if you're a returning subscriber, thanks so much for coming back. And I really appreciate you guys so much. Right now, we're going to have a couple of things I want to talk about before we jump into the core of the video. I'm growing out my beard and you guys let me know what you guys think. Usually I keep it short and sweet, but we're getting into the winter. So let me know. Hashtag long beard, hashtag keep it trim. You guys can sound off and let me know. That'll be something fun to explore out of context, perhaps. Also, if you guys are interested, tonight, when this video is going live, tonight, 5 o'clock Central, it's community game night over on Twitch, link in the description. If you like anything in this video, if you hate everything in this video, click the link, come hang out. I really do appreciate all the lurkers that have been supporting my New World content. And the best news of all is Julie's giving me Saturday, my wife, to play games as well. So Friday and Saturday, if you're watching this in real time, come hang out on Twitch. It's going to be a blast. I'm going to hang out and voice chat. We're just going to chill, talk video games. It's a great time. So I guess if I had a third announcement, it's I'm trying to become an internet troll over on Twitter, that stupid platform. Namely because if you guys want to follow me over there, I'm deciding to test out joke writing in the context of Twitter. It's not going well, but it's awesome. And a couple people actually are getting it. So if you guys want to kind of follow it for the chaos that will probably ensue, check it out. That's going to be something that's going on. Anyway, let's go ahead and bring in the dragon and let's talk about these key aspects. I'm going to open with PvP first. The reason I want to talk about PvP is I absolutely love the PvP in this game, but I'm not a sweats. I'm not going to be your PvP guy. I'm somebody who really appreciates what PvP brings to games. I enjoy PvP. I love doing Destiny PvP. I like PvP. It is something that is very critical. I find myself not actually doing that much PvP in New World, but I think that can change. And that's what the roadmap really was missing for me. That's why I wanted to talk about this first and foremost. So if you don't hear anything else I'm saying, I'm not saying that they should stop focusing on PvE. I think when you look at the demand, when you look at what players are engaging with, PvE is a really good thing that helps open up the game to a lot of people. But we need solutions for open world PvP. And I've shared some of my ideas with this. I've shared it on the forums. I've put it into in-game feedback as well. And highlighted if this is a video that you haven't seen, like you haven't seen all my other videos, which no judgment. That would be an achievement. If you have seen all my other videos, tip of the hat, like that's insane. Anyway, back on topic. The idea here is that I think they should make a zone that rotates every week. The reason why I think rotation is important is variety is the spice of life. But I think they should pick a zone in this world and make it the hot zone, and essentially then give incentive, give rewards, push people who want to open world PvP into the zone, First Light or Everfall. Like it doesn't matter. Like the zones rotate, and then if you're wanting to be a part of that, you can jump into that, and that's going to give you that kind of feed that craving and also create these moments. This comes from personal experience. We were doing a March to End Polio for Rotary Club. My wife's a part of that. Her grandmother's orchestrating it. And what ended up happening is like they decided that they were going to have everybody every club do their own thing. And in the end, it got no headlines, no traction because everybody was off kind of just in their own little bubble. What really makes things epic, what really would actually make people cover this in terms of content creation, maybe even having websites report on this, which is really good for the health of the game, is to put people into a zone. Imagine being able to sit down and put out a war report on the state of, Everfall this week. And it could be something that is just very lighthearted in terms of like, yep, just do it if you want, or it could actually kind of have some stakes if you wanted to go above and beyond. Clearly, I'm just putting out ideas in the world. I'm sure that people can always pick them apart and tear them up, but it's like the idea that all of a sudden you get a lot of people into a space, it becomes something that people want to be a part of. In fact, I've had people join me in open world PvP who have said they're not PvPers. They like, I really don't want to do that. It kind of nervous, but then wait a minute, when you're going with friends, when you're going with a group, you're getting the boys together and everybody's just rocking and rolling. It's a heck of a good time. It's so much fun. And I think that's something that we really want them to see. And that obviously is not on the roadmap. And so something in terms of open world, which they have acknowledged it, but I would say that as somebody who is looking forward to more PvP stuff, not talking that there's no new map on the roadmap. Now, let's give them credit. Let's kind of demystify this a little bit. They've been clear. Not everything on the roadmap is listed here. And that usually means that some of these things are flexible. If they get done, they're gonna get added. There's also surprises and things like that they've already done for us that aren't here. So, if we're gonna give them a point, it's that I feel like they've earned the trust in terms of how they communicate and how they deliver and more about that game. If we're gonna give them, if they're gonna lose a point, it's that they should have some statement of PvP updates, even if it's that vague. On this list itself, because there's plenty of room. Like if we just put up the roadmap right here, right now on screen, lots of room. You could move some text around. It's not going to look too jumbled. You don't want it to look too jumbled, but PvP updates would have been a really nice thing for them to say here. But I do believe that they're coming. They've acknowledged that, and I think essentially, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I think that is kind of a slight miss on the roadmap. That is definitely something missing on the roadmap. And I think a lot of people had hopes, for new maps. And I think new maps would be great, especially for OPR. I've seen people talk about how OPR being in the summer, like that's a miss. And it's like, at the end of the day, this is a lot of work. The thing about that is that once that's done, the work to replicate it into other areas of the game is going to be far less. So I honestly would rather them take their time and do it right rather than rush it and us all have kinds of problems. So this all ties back into their start, stop, continue. And in the terms of they want to stop taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I think that's what we're seeing there in that regards. Now, let's talk about weapons. We've seen weapons hinted. They've talked about weapons coming. No weapon on the roadmap leads me to, again, I'm kind of a positive guy generally. Like you'll get me frustrated. You'll see that occasion, but not as often. I start to see no new weapons on this list. What's set up for the fall? And we've been, I think, really fortunate to get 3 new weapons since the game launched. So you kind of think about it. Well, if they kind of been doing kind of 3 seasons with kind of an overriding, nothing in the fall. And if we don't get any new weapons, if they don't surprise us with a new weapon, and if they haven't committed to any new weapons within this content, I start to wonder, what is this 2.0? What is this fall update? And would we rather see 1 new weapon roll out over the course of, I don't know, every couple of months, where we might get 1 in the summer and then 1 in the winter? Or would we rather them have a kind of a bigger update where we got the Great Sword and a new zone? Would it be more interesting for them to introduce more than just 1 new weapon at a time? And in that way, are we going in, is this kind of hinting at an expansion? Them not saying it makes me wonder. But when we start talking about the fall, the questions remain. Well, it's not on the list. Year 2 will be that. And we've already seen how big year 1 and their event can be. I wonder if they're working towards something really, really big for us. Now, whether it's daggers, even, Scott talked about having, a focus-driven weapon, something to add more to kind of healers' toolkits than that already exists. And as a healer, I'd love to see it. Also, somebody who wants daggers in this game too. I'm really hopeful to see kind of what they can do with that. And then we've already, there's a long list of possible weapons that they can introduce down the road. So I think essentially, if you're looking at something, it's healers or daggers, or both. And I think that would be pretty cool to see them kind of introduce that at the time, because not everybody's really into healing, and them introducing kind of a focus weapon on that could end up being a little bit different, where, I don't know, you guys let me know how you feel about it. I kind of feel like this is pointing us to seeing more with the fall, where the fall ends up being kind of this bigger driven event where we kind of see them do this yearly big hype release. And it doesn't necessarily mean an expansion, but it does mean like, hey, it's the fall and here's all the new stuff coming. Obviously, we don't have any hints to zones. Like right now, we're starting to get more and more into that. What's new? What's been, we haven't seen too much data mine stuff. We haven't, like the zone was data mined last time. We've seen pictures of it before as the game launched. So we know that they're working on more zones. We just haven't got too much insight into that in and of itself. So the weapons in and of itself feels kind of like a miss, in that regards. It definitely is missing. And I think people had that expectation as to kind of when to plan for that. And then the final thing is like in terms of lightness, obviously like it is only focusing in on 2 seasons. I think that lightness feels like it's more on purpose that leads into what is this fall update and when will we learn more about it? And I would have to say that most likely from a marketing perspective, that's something that we will either see sometime this spring or this summer when you start to look at what big announcements and or if they are planning anything for the Game Awards that's going to be dropping next week. So there's a lot to kind of look at in terms of marketing and hype. Obviously this roadmap is focusing in on the core community. The bigger announcements end up kind of going wider when they have bigger things to kind of bundle in it. So I don't necessarily feel I would say like the only reason for me this might feel light is because in a way it is only really focusing in on half the year next year, like 2 seasons next year. We know what's happening this winter, and it'll be interesting to see if they start releasing roadmaps like this, where we have spring and summer, and then they release a new roadmap, fall and winter, spring and summer, fall and winter. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what happens next with that. But for me, all in all, like I think the PvP thing is the one thing I wish that we'd see them talk about, and maybe they will. Maybe they'll wait till sometime in early January when they come back from the holidays after all this content's released. And yeah, that's kind of be my final thoughts on the subject itself. If you guys want to come hang out over on Twitch, come on and join me. If you want to hang out in Discord and play the game together, we're on Orofina. Happy to help. I'll never transfer. The only way that server name changes is if we get merged at some point. And the reason is because I invite you guys to come hang out and play. And that's really where the fun's at. Anyway, thanks so much for being here, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. But until then, take care.